world feels a bit toxic and blah these days, doesn't it? The same old people coming up with the same old solutions for big problems that still don't work. We need to change the game. Well, welcome to Women Advancing. Join me, host Kate Byrne, in this dynamic bi-weekly podcast, bringing together female founders, funders, and thought leaders. Listen to the people driving change, how they got there, how you can help, and yep, how you might just be the next one to advance. Proof that all ships rise with women at the helm. That's what happens when Women Advance with Kate Byrne. Hey everyone, it's your host Kate Byrne with Women Advancing. Today we're going to take a look at gaps. And we're going to start minding those gaps, primarily between who a market claims to serve and who it quietly leaves out. We're going to do so by sitting down with the founder, Kate Korngold, who is a sophomore in high school, of Featherie, a golf apparel company that is finally taking time to address the need of a very fast-growing market, women and teen girls, who previously were dealing with clothes that were just never really built for them, as is the case with so many things for women, right? It's just adapted as an afterthought. So on today's Women Advancing episode, I'm joined by this remarkable mother-daughter founding team to talk about spotting an overlooked opportunity, trusting lived experience as real market insight, and then having the courage to step onto the course when the industry wasn't exactly set up for you. We explore what it means to build a brand across generations, how confidence and comfort can change performance, and why recognizing such a gap and refusing to shrink around it and choosing to build something that expands choice, belonging, and possibility for the women and girls who come next is in fact an act of leadership, and how by doing so, others around you, including large brands, will come and borrow your ideas. So there's a lot of life lessons as well of what goes on when one is building a company. So if you've ever noticed something missing and wondering whether you were brave enough to build it for yourself, please listen to this episode. Kate will give you such inspiration. And spoiler alert, yeah, that's right. The answer is yes. And this conversation is for you. Stay to the end, listen to my KB takeaways, and let me know what else you'd love to hear. All right, let's listen. Oh, Women Advancing listeners, we are in for such a treat today. I am joined by founder Kate Korngold and her right hand, I won't say co-founder, but ops person, her mom, Christy Korngold. If you can imagine starting a company with your mom, which I think is pretty cool right there. And their company is Featherie. We're going to talk a little bit about spotting gaps, intergenerational leadership, and so much more. So let's jump in. Christy and Kate, welcome to Women Advancing.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much, Kate, for having us.
It's my pleasure. So I want to dive right in because, so often we've all heard about, mind the gap and people have spotted gaps, but you really, really did, Kate, and at such a young age. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about the story of how you or what you actually heard, saw, or experienced personally that convinced you that, hey, there's a gap here and I should do something about it.
Yeah, so I've been playing golf since I was 4 years old. And when I became a teen, I realized that there were no golf clothes made for teen girls. And so after playing for a while, I would play with my parents and my family. And afterwards, we would go into the pro shop to get either a hat or some clothes. And my dad would be able to find something to buy in the men's section. My brother could find something to buy in the boys section. Even my little sister had something to buy in the little girls section. But there was nothing made for teen girls who had already grown out of the kids section but weren't quite ready to wear clothes from the women's section. And so I went to my parents with this problem, and at first they didn't really believe me because they didn't think it was possible that there was a full group that was left out in golf clothes. But eventually we all realized that it was a true problem, and we waited for a while for a bigger brand to come out with teen girl golf clothes, and it never happened. So after a while, after a lot of waiting, we took this idea and met with a designer. I designed all the golf clothes. I learned about manufacturing, about fabrics, colors, a lot of behind the scenes logistics. And eventually we brought it to a trade show in 2023. And it's been great ever since.
Wow. The thing that I am blown away by is of all the sectors or segments, stakeholder groups, markets, audience, to miss teen girls who are all about fashion, all about trends, which means honestly, you could have such an instantaneous, constant design flow, right? Every year there'd be new models and everybody would, it's almost like disposable wear in a way. I'm just saying, what a swing and a woof and a miss. So Christy,
And I will say that to your point, 37% of junior golfers are females. 38% of beginner golfers are females. And that number just continues to grow and started growing actually during COVID. I think COVID was a time where people wanted to be outside and trying to find ways to not be indoors. But yeah, for numbers to be that high and to just totally be forgotten about doesn't make sense.
Well, right. And then also for that, then to grow into adult female golfers with a sense of style and practicality and efficiency, the same kind of thing there. And I bet that market is growing as more and more young girls are stepping into becoming young women who are leaders, because we all know about the magic of the golf course. But despite that, the lessons that one learns, right? The skills, the patience, the focus, the fighting that negative chatter in your head when you miss. But Christy, what did you think when Kate came to you? Because we've all had our kids come and say, "Oh, I think," you know what I mean? And you're like, "Whoa, wait a second."
Right. Well, when she first came to my husband and I with the idea, we said to her, "Don't worry. One of these big brands is going to figure out that there's this void. They'll take care of it." And we waited a year and Kate came back and she said, "No one's fixed this." And we said, no, don't worry. We'll wait another year. And finally, after 2.5 years, John and I looked at each other and said, "This is a parenting moment. We either give her the green light and support her, or she'll turn around in 40 years and tell us that, she could have been the next big sports brand out there." And so we decided to try and figure this out. Neither my husband or I have a background in fashion, and Kate did not. So we really had to start from scratch. Like Kate said, figure out what are fabrics, what are fabric mills, manufacturing, a logistics company, a 3PL. There's so much that goes into it behind the scenes. And, the biggest thing, too, the way you market these clothes for younger girls, younger kids, is through social media. I have 3 children, and none of them were allowed to have social media prior to this. So it was really, I think that was a huge learning for us.
Absolutely. Well, so then, and I'm just thinking, for what a sector to take on, like retail.
Yeah.
Sure. Everyone has their systems, but that has systems upon systems upon systems upon procedures upon policies, because especially as you start, your brand starts scaling and being distributed across state lines and potentially, knock on wood, country lines, that's a whole other magnitude, import, export, all sorts of things. That's like an MBA right here and now.
It is. And not having a business background, every day is something new. We're learning something new.
Well, and you're actually really on the cutting edge, because I'm sure it's all changed so much. So often when one is starting something, you go back and people will tell you, get advice from others. Some of it's still relevant, I'm sure. But to your point, there's a lot that isn't. And the social marketing piece in particular, I want to touch upon that in a little minute, but I'm dying to know, can you explain to me, it's probably something that I should know, what does the name mean? What does it refer to? Is it a term or?
Yeah, so Featherie is the first high-performance golf ball, and it revolutionized the game of golf because golf balls were able to fly a lot further. They're filled with goose feathers. That's why it's called Featherie. And we thought that it fit perfectly with the brand because it revolutionized the game of golf. And I was hoping to, in some way, revolutionize the game of golf for women and for girls as well.
Which is great. So now you're revolutionizing it through the fashion and through when they step onto the green, feeling good, feeling strong, feeling confident, kind of boss lady.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, giving the woman confidence and kind of revolutionizing the whole area for women in golf.
Now, speaking of revolutionizing, you talked a bit about, your design, right? You designed it, and there are specific things. Share a little bit. What were some of the, I guess I'd say, new little, I'm going to use the word doodad, and I don't mean to use that word, but what are some of the features, there we go, that are, you came up with that are unique that others hadn't seen, just like they missed this whole market?
So being a golfer, I knew exactly what I wanted to put into the clothes to make them the most high performance and functional for the girls and women who would be wearing the clothes. So for example, on our skirts and our pants, we have T holders built in under the skirt and then on the back of the pants. And this prevents from when you have to put tees, when you have to store tees, instead of putting them in your pocket where they might stab you while you're swinging, there's a perfect little spot that's dedicated to the tees. Another feature is our zip-off sleeves on our jackets. So if you have an early morning tea time and it's cold out, but then it gets warmer throughout the day, you can just zip off the sleeves and put them into the pockets on the inside. So little details like that differentiate Featherie, as it was designed by a golfer. And I knew exactly what needed to be in the pieces to make them the most high performance for the girls.
Which I love both those pieces, but the zip off sleeves I think is so brilliant because so often golf courses are near bodies of water. Mm-hmm. And we all know, right, that it can get foggy. I'm thinking of a few courses in the Bay Area in particular, where that just is so smart and so wise. Now, did you learn anything else from doing this? So did other brands all of a sudden peek up and go, hey, wait, that's a pretty cool thing?
It was interesting to see at the first trade show that we went to, the number of people that were coming over from other brands that were looking at the pieces. And I think we have seen some of the things that Kate's put into her designs now on other brands' pieces, which was alarming to Kate initially. And I think that it's been a good lesson for her because flattery or what is the saying? Copying is the best form of flattery. Right. And obviously it was a good idea. Otherwise they wouldn't be using it on their pieces. So maybe a hard life lesson to learn, but you're not going to stop it. You're not going to prevent it from happening. So just take it as a compliment.
Absolutely. And the other thing eventually down the line that you can do is you can become known for your innovation, especially and your ability to actually read the minds and the needs of a very specific and incredibly important growing market. Mm-hmm. So you right there are instantly a thought leader that people, there's all sorts of opportunity for you there to also further grow, which I think is fantastic because then you can serve as such inspiration to women of all ages, but especially your age group, who I think so often many adults overlook. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of assumption that I think is put into play.
Especially in golf. It's interesting. It even happened to us a few days ago on the golf course where there were some men playing golf who assumed that Kate would be slow and didn't allow her to play in front of them. And Kate ended up having to wait for them behind every hole, which, kind of showed them that their assumptions were incorrect. So it happens a lot in golf. People aren't giving women the respect that they deserve on the course.
What were some of the other big surprises about entering a market just like this, where women and girls accessories often default to stereotypes?
I think that it was surprising at the first trade show. Men were coming by and going, oh my gosh, these clothes, it makes sense why you need certain things. When these women's clothes have been historically designed by men, they haven't put a lot of thought into what women need in their clothes. And so there were a lot of assumptions made on, what women needed in their clothing on the golf course. It has now changed that because she knows what a woman needs.
I'm curious, wasn't there some saying, shrink it and pink it?
Yeah.
So yes, what you unfortunately historically have seen in women's golf clothes is an assumption that we want something that's uber feminine on the course. And we learned early on in this process from different pro shops and buyers and merchandisers that there's a saying in the golf world, and that is shrink it and pink it for female golfers, which is just awful.
In any industry, any sector, it would be, but it is so, it sums it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so Kate's designs are classic and clean, no prints. They are sophisticated colors that are not typically seen on the golf course necessarily.
Nice.
And they fit really well. They're not the shrink it and pink it. They're special for women, for girls. So changing women's golf clothes.
Right. And now, what's your inspiration for colors? You know how every year they have, oh, these are the colors for 2026. Do you pay attention to that? Or do you just say, hey, you know what? I really like that color, and I think that could be cool with this.
For all the Featherie colors, they're all mix and match. So they all go with each other. They're all staple pieces. The collections can go together. For our first collection, the colors were white, light pink, light blue, and navy. And those all really mix really well together. So in terms of picking colors for our pieces, just colors that go well, colors that can go with a lot of different pieces, a lot of different other things.
Yeah, the idea is to not just get stuck with one top that matches one skirt, but having pieces that are more versatile. So it's a go-to skirt that you can grab out of your closet and you can throw on any top with it. Pieces that you can use year after year, actually, that aren't trendy and that will last you more than 1 or 2 seasons.
I was going to say, which completely plays into all of the mindset of your audience, both the older sector of it, but then also the young and the up and coming. Well, so how does being a mother-daughter duo kind of shape your decision-making, your ability to take risks? Is one more risk-oriented versus the other? What's it like, a day in the life of that vibe?
Been the most amazing opportunity to be able to work with my mom throughout this process. We've definitely grown together. We've learned a lot together. I think a cool thing about being a mother-daughter duo is that we're always throwing ideas at each other no matter what time of the day. And so being able to do that, we think a lot about designs, colors, all that stuff, even when we're not in the office. So that's just something really cool about being able to work with my mom.
And Kate has complete control over, she's the creative director. She doesn't design anything that she won't put on her body. I think that we agree on most things, but there are times where I'll suggest something and she'll say, I'm not going to wear that. And there are times where I have to step in as a mom and say, that skirt might be a little short.
We don't need a crop top.
That's right. But I think, like Kate said, this has been such a great experience. I think we've both learned so much about each other through this process. I think, every day learning how this business works and everything that goes on behind the scenes and learning that together. There are so many times that we get off a call and we look at each other and say, okay, what were they talking about? And then we dig in together to figure out, okay, what did it mean when they were referring to this? Or what did we need to learn about, what it meant when they were talking about this? So that's been it's been a fun journey to take together.
Well, and one of the things that I think would be really cool and fun to witness with that is how, to your point, you come away from the same conversation and how each of you heard or saw something just a little unique. I'm sure a lot of it is the same, but interesting that you have each other's, each of you have those eyes in the back of your head where you can catch each other's blind spots, which I think is probably amazing. So now with that though, because you are together, being mom and daughter, and you're running around and you're seeing all these things, like how's that impacted, or I guess what I should say is, what have you learned about blending family and business? And how do you set up those boundaries? Because we all know it's hard enough to put a boundary just with yourself. Mm-hmm. But now when you have 40% of your family involved. So how do you work on that, or how do you set that up? And do you have some sort of setup of either rules or cues or keywords, safety words that you tell the family to use aside from just like maybe an eye roll?
So you are absolutely right. This startup is all consuming. And if we don't set boundaries, it really does. It's all we think about and talk about 24 hours a day together. And Kate and I mean, this is Kate's passion, and it's become my passion as well. But we have to be careful because we do have 3 other family members who don't constantly want to talk about Featherie at the dinner table. So we do have to make sure that when we're at dinner, when we're together with our family, that we are not constantly talking Featherie, although they're just as excited and full of some great ideas as well.
Yeah.
But we do need to set boundaries.
I don't think we've learned yet kind of where to set that boundary. We're still, because we're a new company, we're still trying to figure it out.
Still feeling that all out.
Right.
Yeah. So I have to ask you, what of all of that, like, what would you say, each of you say, Kate, what have you learned? Like, what's a leadership or just a life lesson that you've learned from your mom? And then Christy, what about you? The same for what have you learned from Kate?
I think one of the biggest things is when I was first going to start the company, when my parents and especially my mom told me, if not you, then who? Basically telling me if no other big companies are going to come out with it, then why not me? I think I'll definitely take that lesson with me in the future and as I continue to grow as a person. So that was definitely a very valuable lesson for me.
And I think for me, Kate is naturally an introvert. She did not start Featherie for the spotlight. She started Featherie because she found a void in the market. There was a problem that wasn't being addressed. And so she decided to take it upon herself and solve that. Because she's an introvert, it's been hard over the last 3 years for her to put herself out there, starting with putting this idea that she had. What if people don't like it? What if people come back and say, no, I don't think it's necessary? Doing interviews, doing podcasts like this one, going to a trade show and having to talk to literally thousands of people. For me, I have learned that you, even in an uncomfortable situation, you put yourself out there and take that risk and do it. And there have been times where I have found myself in an uncomfortable situation and have thought, you know what, if Kate can do it, I can do it too. So I think that I'm incredibly proud of what Kate, as a person, how she's grown.
That I think is a very cool thing, is you in essence are channeling your inner Kate.
Absolutely.
It's like, okay, what would Kate do? How would she play this? This intergenerational learning is something I've been thinking and beginning to dig into deeper and deeper. And it's really a theme that I want to really work on throughout this season of Women Advancing. Because I think it's just so important, and it can make everybody's lives so much easier when we realize everyone has something to teach us, but especially it makes us all better communicators. It makes us all better leaders and better followers.
Absolutely. No matter what age, it's you can always learn something from someone else.
Yeah.
I also think I call Kate my IT department because technology is not my thing. And so she's always the one that's helping with spreadsheets and Excel and PowerPoint.
I do that with my daughters, and nothing, though, I will tell you, pleases me more when I surprise them.
Right.
And they're like, wow, look at you. I'm like, yeah, I know. Get back.
Yes. Like a Saturday Night Live skit where I'm like, Kate, I don't know how to do this. And she comes in and, Mom, it wasn't that hard.
I want to make a soundtrack of all those mother-daughter things like that.
Right.
The mom, just a silent, which, that was when the eyes rolled. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I feel you on that for sure. So, Kate, to that end, the entrepreneur's reality. It's all great. Things are growing. That's wonderful. Every founder encounters friction. What's challenged you most? And how do you move through those doubts that your mom spoke of?
Yeah, I think, one of the biggest challenges for me, especially as a 10th grader, is kind of balancing school and balancing Featherie at the same time. So it's taken a while for me to kind of find that groove, to find that space where I can, do my homework at night, but then also be able to hop on a call right after when I get home from school. So that's definitely been one of the biggest challenges, being a teen entrepreneur. But especially with my mom's help and my parents' help, it's been good so far.
And I would think because that balance thing, thank God you're learning how to do that now. That's going to be a gift that keeps on giving throughout your life, my friend, and across many different simultaneous situations. And I just think the extraordinary amount of vulnerability you have displayed, especially at an age where you're also still really kind of figuring out who you are, what makes you tick. I'm going to say thank you for that, because there are a lot of us on my end of the spectrum who will also channel our inner Kate and realize, my God, okay, I got to step it up and step out so that we make more space for folks like you to do exactly what you're doing. So if Featherie becomes what you dream it could be, what does that look like? I know it may seem silly to ask that now, but I'm a big believer. We just had the solstice. I'm a juju player. Got to plant those seeds, baby. Manifest now. So what would it look like, Kate?
I think definitely getting Featherie into more people's hands, into more people's closets, definitely seeing Featherie out on the course. But I also think creating this community of women and girls on the course and growing the popularity of women in golf. And so I think just continuing to grow this community and continuing to make golf seem less of a male-dominated sport and more of a sport where women and girls can go out and have fun and spend time with their friends and spend time with their family. Just kind of changing the whole space and making it more woman and girl friendly.
You know, I think it'll be really interesting to see, and I love that vision. One of my first bosses was amazing woman, Janet Hare, extraordinary golfer. She could hit from the men's tees and outdo everybody. She was so great. And her family was were very senior level in the Time media enterprise, her brother Jack and other sisters. And I think nothing would make her happier to see exactly that and have more and more, so that it's just a collaborative thing. And maybe, who knows, one day there will only be a T. So in closing, you two, knowing what you know now, I would love to know, Christy, what would you tell your younger self? And Kate, what advice are you going to give your older self now?
I would say don't take no for an answer and use it as almost a motivation to continue going. There are going to be people who will stop you along the way, say, oh no, your idea is not good. There's no space for teen girl golf clothes and woman golf clothes. But in reality, you just have to kind of take that and use that as a motivation to continue going.
I'd probably say something similar. Don't take no for an answer. And I would also tell my younger self that female entrepreneurs, like the female community, is incredible. And the support that you will get from females going forward is just a gift. And that has been a gift in this process, that females, they lift you up, they support you, in many different ways, including even in this way, Kate, honestly, by hosting a podcast like this for female entrepreneurs. But yeah, take that chance and know that you are going to have a community that supports you and stands behind you and uplifts you.
Which is wonderful. And what advice, Kate, would you give for other folks your age and older too, maybe, but really your age? Because I know there's so much innovative thinking that takes place. What advice would you give them in terms of potentially future founding of companies?
I would say follow your dreams, kind of take your idea and do something with it. They're all really good ideas and it's possible to make something really good out of it. So follow your dreams for sure.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you both so much. I really appreciate you making time and helping us kick off the new season of Women Advancing. For those of you who are going to be in Orlando, you can see the Featherie duo there. So don't be a stranger and go check them out. And of course, we're going to have the link to your website as well. And I'm going to have to go check it out myself, darn it.
We'd love to see you. We'd love to see you at the PGA show in January.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank
really,
you.
Really appreciate it. It was great talking with you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Best of everything to you, and may 2026 be bigger and more extraordinary than you think.
Thank you so much.
All right. Until next time. All right. I'm sorry. I think that is a pretty darn inspirational conversation, if I do say so myself, on two fronts. One, hello, you're 14, you get this idea, and then you really go for it, especially when you're an introvert. And I know so many of us, it's hard. It's hard for me, and I've got a big mouth. For someone like Kate, who as her mother is described as more introverted, good on her for overcoming and allowing herself to be so vulnerable and out there because she has such faith and belief in her idea. Kudos to Christy and Dad John for supporting Kate. And so I would say this is so perfect for the intergenerational work that I'm really going to be doing a bit more of throughout this year's episodes, because I just think, that's how we're going to lift each other up, is seeding that perpetual curiosity and then making space and then taking space. So for my KB takeaways, first and foremost, if not you, then who? That's right. Get out there, jump in, take it, do it. Know that you're going to have some bumps along the way. But also, pearl number 2 from the words and lips of Kate is, those no's, they're going to get you closer to your yeses. It just means leading you away from an idea that wasn't really going to work. And then 3, from Christy, I really appreciated, don't take no for an answer. Get back in that ring and take that chance. Don't be afraid. It's so much easier said than done. And so many of these takeaways and KB takeaways throughout all the different episodes, they sound somewhat obvious, but man, hard to practice. So honestly, that's why oftentimes I repeat again and again and again, because until we get more of us up there and out there in the world, we need to be reminded of this all the time. And with that, thank you for joining me on Women Advancing, and I look forward to continuing the conversation.
Thanks for listening. May this episode inspire you to move forward. Be sure to go to iTunes, Spotify, katebyrne.co, that's KATEBYRNE.co, or wherever you listen to your podcasts, and listen to even more episodes. Here's to strong women. May we know them, may we be them, may we raise them. And be sure to meet them on the next Women Advancing. Ta till next time.